Hi, this is Holly of Holly's Soapmaking. In this video, I'll be making another coffee soap and adding some of the leftover coffee grounds at trays. As always, if you're interested in the recipe, you'll find it at the end of this video, and all of the other details and information will be listed in the description box below. For this soap, I made enough coffee to replace all of the water required for my lye solution. In my previous coffee soap video, I went into more detail on how I made the coffee using distilled water. I'll link that video below, but you can use any method you like to create enough coffee for your recipe. Once my coffee was made, I allowed it to cool down and then froze it to keep it fresh. When I was finished with the coffee, I spread the used grounds out and just let them air dry overnight until I was ready to use them the next day. Soap making involves the use of sodium hydroxide or lye, so be sure to protect your skin and eyes during the entire soap making process. Work in a well-ventilated area away from children and pets, and never stand directly over the container or breathe any of the fumes. I added the sodium hydroxide to the frozen coffee a little at a time and gently stirred until I was sure it had all dissolved. As I mentioned in the beginning, if you'd like the recipe, be sure to check out the end of this video where I enter it into a soap calculator. Something I mentioned in my last video that I thought might also be helpful here given how dark lye made with coffee can be. If you're concerned about not being able to see through the opaque lye to make sure all of your sodium hydroxide dissolved, you can always use a fine stainless steel strainer when adding the lye to the oils. I continued to blend until reaching a light medium trace and then added the dried leftover coffee grounds. I added about 1 teaspoon of the grounds total to 6 cups of soap. My coffee grounds were quite fine in texture, and I added them mostly for appearance because I didn't want the soap to be too scratchy or exfoliating. I did oven process the soap to make sure it went through a complete gel phase so I could unmold and cut it the next day. I removed the soap from the oven the next morning and was able to unmold and cut it that afternoon. You'll notice there's a color difference inside the soap, but that all evens out by the next day when I photograph them. Since this was a cold process soap, I left the top of lye set to sodium hydroxide, or NaOH. My recipe oil weight was 1,000 grams. My lye concentration was set to 35%, which means my lye solution consisted of 35% sodium hydroxide and 65% coffee. I set the superfat to 6%, and my fragrance usage rate was 25 grams per kilogram. Once you have everything entered, you just select to calculate the recipe, then to view or print it. SoapCalc will give you a really nice listing of all of your ingredients, including the amount of sodium hydroxide required to saponify your oils. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope you found something useful here to help you in your soap making.